34-year-old Ibrahim Traoré is the new self-declared leader of Burkina Faso. He overthrew the president Paul-Henri Damiba alongside a group of soldiers.
Today marks the official withdrawal of Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso from the West African regional bloc ECOWAS. The three Sahel states announced a year ago that they were cutting ties with the bloc after their membership was suspended following military coups in the country.
In the sweeping saga of African history, the world has grown used to hearing tales of struggle, stories of poverty, conflict, and relentless exploitation. And too often, Burkina Faso has been cast in that same shadow, a landlocked country, dismissed as one of West Africa's poorest, neglected in global rankings, and defined by instability and dependence. But what if that story is changing? What if, beneath the grim headlines and economic charts, there's a deeper tale, one of courage, resilience, and bold, visionary leadership? Today, we open a powerful new chapter in Burkina Faso's journey, a chapter led by a young, fearless military captain named Ibrahim Traoré, who defied expectations and dared to dream bigger. Against overwhelming odds, Traoré helped unlock $18 billion in national resources, an amount with the power to reshape not only Burkina Faso's future, but potentially set a precedent for an entire continent. This is not just a story of politics, it's a revolution in motion, a story of a nation reclaiming its destiny. For generations, Burkina Faso, known as the land of upright people, has lived with a cruel irony. It is a country rich in gold, boasting more than 60 industrial mines and countless artisanal sites. And yet, the wealth beneath its soil has rarely enriched its people. Instead, the gleam of gold lined the pockets of foreign investors and multinational corporations. Decades of corrupt deals, opaque contracts, and environmental destruction left local communities with polluted rivers, destroyed forests, and deepening poverty. The gold left the country, but prosperity never arrived. Hope, for many, had run dry. But that began to change in 2022. When Captain Ibrahim Traoré took power through a military coup, he promised something radical: to restore national dignity, to fight corruption, and, most critically, to reclaim control over Burkina Faso's vast natural wealth. Traoré's rise marked more than just a political shift. It was the beginning of an economic and ideological transformation. For the first time in decades, the question was no longer how much gold is in the ground, but who does it belong to? His revolutionary leadership seeks not only to secure borders and stabilize the state, but to turn Burkina Faso's natural riches into tangible progress for its people. Schools, clinics, clean water, jobs. These are no longer distant dreams, but part of a bold new national agenda. Burkina Faso is no longer waiting for the world to save it. It is standing up on its own terms. This is a story of reclamation, of sovereignty, of possibility, and it just might inspire the world.
34-year-old Ibrahim Traoré is the new self-declared leader of Burkina Faso. He overthrew the president Paul-Henri Damiba alongside a group of soldiers. Traoré has gone from being a career soldier to the leader of the West African nation.
It was not long ago that Ibrahim Traoré, a relatively low-ranking officer in Burkina Faso's military, was running an artillery regiment in a small northern town. Now, cheering crowds greet the self-declared leader after he and a group of soldiers overthrew President Paul-Henri Damiba. It was the West African country's second coup this year. But in an interview with Radio France International, Traoré insisted he will not be in charge for long.
From the very beginning, Ibrahim Traoré understood a simple truth. Burkina Faso's gold was not just a resource, it was a national treasure, and it should serve the people, not enrich foreign investors. One of his first bold moves as leader was to launch a sweeping audit of all mining contracts. Many of these deals, signed under previous governments, were murky, secretive, and deeply tilted in favor of foreign corporations. Traoré's goal? To bring back control, transparency, and accountability over the country's mineral wealth. Then came a turning point. Traoré revoked dozens of licenses held by multinational firms, sending a clear message: Burkina Faso would no longer be mined and abandoned. New policies were introduced to ensure that a significant share of gold revenue stayed in the country, funding development, not draining it. In a fiery national address, Traoré declared, "We cannot secure our people if we do not secure our wealth." His words lit a fire across the nation. This was more than rhetoric, it was a pivot in history. No longer content with foreign aid or trickle-down profits, Burkina Faso was reclaiming its wealth, its dignity, and its destiny. And then came the number that shocked the world, $18 billion. That's the estimated revenue Burkina Faso has generated from its gold mines since Traoré's reforms took effect. While critics call the figure ambitious, rising export data and independent estimates suggest a genuine and historic financial turnaround. But this isn't just about numbers. That revenue is already fueling real change, investments in rural electrification, roads, healthcare, and education. Villages once isolated now have access to markets. Children are attending school. Medical clinics are being built. The benefits are no longer hypothetical, they're visible. Even the military is being modernized, not for power, but for peace. With better equipment and training, it can more effectively combat insurgencies and restore stability in a region long plagued by violence. Perhaps most symbolic of all, Burkina Faso has begun paying off its debts independently, without turning to the IMF or World Bank. It's a declaration of economic sovereignty, a refusal to be shackled by the conditional loans of the past. Of course, shaking up the system comes with consequences. Western governments and international watchdogs have raised alarms. Some have imposed sanctions, others question the transparency of this bold new path. And threats remain, from entrenched corruption to insurgent violence. But Traoré isn't backing down. Instead of pleading for approval from the West, he's forging strategic partnerships with Russia, Turkey, and China, nations willing to invest without dictating terms. It's a calculated move to diversify Burkina Faso's alliances and strengthen its hand on the global stage. And the impact is undeniable. From the bustling streets of Ouagadougou to the remote villages of the Sahel, a quiet revolution is unfolding. Youth chant slogans of self-reliance, farmers watch their goods reach new markets, families experience hope where once there was only hardship. Traoré has become a symbol, a modern-day Sankara to many, not just a leader, but a movement, a rallying cry for African dignity and self-determination. Still, the road ahead is not without peril. The forces that benefit from the old system will not give up easily. Corruption, internal sabotage, and extremist violence remain real threats. If Burkina Faso's revolution is to last, it must build strong institutions, root out bad actors, and ensure the unity of its people. But make no mistake, something extraordinary is happening. This is not just about Burkina Faso, it's about a continent that is waking up. Africa is not poor. It has been impoverished by an unjust system that exports its wealth and leaves its people behind. Now, from Mali to Niger to Guinea, nations are watching and some are following. Burkina Faso's message to the world is clear. Africa's resources belong to Africans. Its future will no longer be outsourced. It will be forged by the people, for the people, and this time the gold stays home.
Today marks the official withdrawal of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso from the West African regional bloc, ECOWAS. The three Sahel states announced a year ago that they were cutting ties with the bloc after their membership was suspended following military coups in the countries. The main role of ECOWAS is to promote economic integration in all fields, but the Commission also plays a role in managing peace, security, democracy, and good governance. These three nations have now formed a separate confederation called the Alliance of Sahel States, or AES, which has a strong mutual defense component amongst other aspirations. On Tuesday, thousands of people rallied in their capitals, chanting slogans supporting the withdrawal. But ECOWAS does not want to lose these countries and said in a statement that the three nations will continue to benefit from unrestricted travel and trading arrangements with the bloc. However, those leading the AES seem to show little desire to remain part of ECOWAS.
The AES is the renaissance of Africa, and I think that all the countries that aspire to the rebirth of Africa should join the AES.
The $18 billion isn't just a number, it's a symbol, a testament to what's possible when a country dares to stand tall, claim its resources, and demand its true worth. Ibrahim Traoré's bold gamble is fueled not by desperation, but by hope. And if the numbers hold, his vision of a self-reliant, resource-powered Burkina Faso could become a model for an entire continent yearning to rise on its own terms. In a world that often views Africa through the narrow lens of poverty and dependence, Burkina Faso offers a powerful reminder. When managed with transparency and purpose, natural wealth can ignite real, lasting development. Traoré's leadership signals more than a political shift. It's a break from a past defined by exploitation. It's a movement toward economic sovereignty and African self-determination. And as Africa's golden fields shimmer in the morning light, they no longer just reflect the sun, they reflect a continent awakening, a continent ready to reclaim what is rightfully its own and to shape a future no longer written by others. The journey ahead is long, but make no mistake, Burkina Faso's revolution has begun, and the world is watching.